So I think this one is maybe my favorite because it talked a lot about of why I started this project at all. And so I think the pattern that I chose of like these intersecting lines and overlapping connections is really what I kind of hope to get out of the project as a whole. I think there have been a lot of ways in which food has always been political or been subversive. And we saw this like with women during like the Montgomery bus protest of like selling food and things to support their communities. And I think even now there are a number, especially women of color, who use food as a way to preserve both what has been like traditionally sidelined as like this not very important thing and using it in important ways. Like I don't think I'm doing the same thing necessarily as like the really great work they're doing, but thinking about how can we think about food as a way of like resistance or something. And so this one I put with a poem by Paul Celan, who is a Jewish poet in the 1940s, 1930s, and his family had been murdered in the Holocaust, and then he continued to write poetry. And I think there's something about like where can we find those places that still continue to speak, where we can still create meaning that are resistant to different forms of oppression and things like that. And so I think I have a fairly like privileged place in my life right now, but thinking about where can I shine light on like the efforts that other people have done and create at least an opportunity for other people to think about poetry as a form of resistance or food as a kind of resistance, but also as a way to gather things together. And so I think that was kind of the point of this particular pie, was both those points of like convergence and divergence, and then in the end somebody gets like a decent apple pie out of it. So that was kind of the whole point.